Hello, everybody, and welcome into the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. On a Wednesday, I'm your host, Tim Dennis. That means only one thing. It's time now for Supernatural News and Parashare. And with that, we have two co-host introductions written by someone else other than me, which means I kind of get the week off at this deal. So if you're ready for this, here's the second of two co-host introductions written by Mark this week. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Gotta put on my intro voice, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me introduce you to our co-hostess with the mostest, previously presented as the Pearl of the Paranormal, now proudly proclaimed under a myriad of mighty monikers, including Princess of the Paranormal, the Queen of the Condemned, the Baroness of the Beyond, the Mistress of the Macabre, and the High Priestess of High Strangeness. She's the... Is this the Marchioness of Michigan and the Duchess of Detroit? A girl so paranormal, she had the name copyrighted. You know her, you love her. It's the paranormal girl herself, Mallie Fox.
Ah, very nice.
See? There's a reason why I came up with a contest for this, Mal. I can't do this on my own.
I like it.
See, people do this so much better than I do.
Mm-hmm. But it's like a tongue twister, these people.
Is it Marchiona? It's M-A-
No, it's I think it's pronounced a different way.
Is it Marchionas? Marchioness? It looks like Marchionas.
Right, but I think it's pronounced a different way, though, for some odd reason.
Is it? Okay. Then I biffed that one. But I don't know. It's a good word, though.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Whatever it is.
I like it.
I biffed it. Whatever it was.
Thank you very much for the intro, though. It was fabulous. All of them have been fabulous.
But Marky Mark is the one who wrote that one. So good job, Mark. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. See? He managed to do it without making you sound like a whore. So there you go. Huh?
Yes, thank you for making me not sound cheap.
There you go. That's a good one.
I have a little dignity left.
Just a smidge.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. Big show, busy show today. But before we kick into it, I have a strange story for you.
Mm-hmm.
Very strange story. I haven't made much to do about it on the show, but Melissa Hortman, I went to high school with her, graduated with her. She was close with intern Yoko. We go to they were both lying in state on Friday. We went to the state capitol on Friday to pay our respects. A tough day. It was a tough day, but I was impressed with how many people came out. There was something to the effect of 7,500 people that turned out in almost 5.5 hours, almost 5 hours and 45 minutes of them being open at the Capitol. The line went around the block, Mallie. It was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
It was impressive.
They didn't have any children, did they?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. They have two grown children. The services were televised. The funeral services are televised on Saturday. Watch those as well. But we're coming back Friday. I stopped off at the foot doctor, got a really good report from the foot doctor. I've been out of a soft cast for, 6 months now. I've just had what's called an angel brace and a tennis shoe that I've been in. I don't have to see him again for another 3 weeks. That's a whole nother thing. Things have been going good with the foot.
Good.
Ran a couple of errands, did stuff like that. Come home, open the garage door, and Snowball, one little chipmunk I have left, had been pregnant. I knew he'd been pregnant. She not. Boy, that'd be a minor miracle, wouldn't it? Although
that's a story to talk about.
That does tie into a story I have later. So those of you who clutch your pearls at the fact that, two boys can't produce anything, get ready for two male mice have produced a baby. It's coming up later in the program. So clutch your pearls later there, fellas. So open the garage door and there's a little baby chipper sitting there eating peanuts. And I went, wait a minute. I knew Snowball was pregnant, but I didn't know that she had him so soon. It takes about 6 weeks for a baby chipper to, kind of grow and become a toddler. Is that a good way of putting it? Or old enough to strike out on their own?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this one had struck out on his own, and there he is eating peanuts, not just eating, devouring and leaving peanut refuse everywhere. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks at me like, hey, dude, what's going on? Right. Like, great spread you put out here. Right. I'm like, hey, dude. So I look at intern Yoko. I'm like, wow, look at this one. Right. She's like, wow, look at this one. And we're both impressed. So we're like, well, what do we name him? Well, we named him Gilbert after the Hortman's slain puppy, which, it's fitting. So
Right.
we have Gilbert now. Gilbert is the new chipper. Well, later on, intern Yoko says there's a second chipper. Like there's a second shooter, right? There's a second chipper. I suppose that's bad humor. So I'm like, second chipper, where? Well, over there in the tree. Gilbert keeps fighting with the second chipper. And I'm like, well, maybe he's fighting with mom, because that's how it works. After they've been kicked out of the den or the nest, they fight with mom. I'm like, nah, Gilbert's just fighting with Snowball. No, this is a baby that Gilbert's fighting with. Nah, I don't think so. Well, the next day I'm out on the porch and I'm watching the service, and I see a little baby chipper to my left eating out of the seed dish. And there's a baby chipper. And I said, hey, look, baby chipper. Intern Yoko goes, I know, that's the baby chipper from the other day. Because Gilbert's in the garage eating cherries. Yes, they're a little spoiled. They eat fruit too. Well, we named this one Gizmo. So there's Gizmo and Gilbert, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the most impressive part of the story, Mallie. The most impressive part of the story is later in the day. Intern Yoko says, guess who I just saw? I'm like, who? Because I later on in the day, I think I see Snowball. I haven't seen Snowball since she delivered. Well, I thought I saw her once since she had delivered Gilbert. She goes, I think I saw Spud. Now, I thought Spud had passed over the winter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no way. Right? She goes, short, stubby tail, ear pressed against the side of her head. And I'm like, yeah, but she's gone. She's been gone. She never came back, especially after the winter. She would have come back. She wakes up, right around March or April, but she never came back. Nope. She's sitting on your knee caddy right now. And I go rush up to the garage, but there's nothing there. Nobody there. And I'm calling, I'm looking around for her. Nothing. But she goes, I took a picture of her. And there she is, sitting on my knee caddy. And I'm like, well, I'll be darned. We got a little Jesus chipmunk. So I've yet to see her, but I don't know. She might be around somewhere. Or it's the ghost of Spud, one or the other. We might have a little paranormal chipmunk floating around in the garage somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bizarre story. Now, I don't know if you believe in the ghosts of chipmunks, but maybe there's one in my garage. So there's your creepy ghost story for you. Maybe there are chipmunk ghosts, and I may have one.
Yeah, but chipmunks aren't creepy though.
No, they're cute, but I just think it's just cute how she's looking up at the camera, just kind of like, hey, I'm here. Where have you guys been? So I thought it was a cute little story. So, but boy, to be gone this long, I mean,
Right.
not show her face until end of June, almost July. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Long time. I mean, it's mid-season already. So they go to bed in October.
Yeah, but weather's been funky though.
Yeah, it has been. It's been really cool and really rainy, and it's been a weird season. That's for sure. All right, let's jump into it. We got a lot of news today. We'll start out with interstellar news. And a Massachusetts woman who also got something strange on film this week. She filmed a strange object in the sky over Pembroke. An unusually clear video has been published showing the mysterious object that she filmed descending above her home. Colleen McCormick had been relaxing outside her home in Pembroke, Massachusetts at 9 p.m. earlier this week when she became aware of a peculiar object in the sky above. Grabbing her phone, she recorded a short clip of the object descending through the clouds. Resembling a dark vertical cylinder with lights, the UFO seemed to be moving too slowly to be a piece of falling space debris or a meteorite, and seemed to be under some semblance of intelligent control. It looked like it was on fire or something, McCormick told WFXT TV. I have no idea what it could have been. My heart was pounding because I just looked up. I'm like, oh God, what is about to happen right now? It was really quiet. You couldn't really hear anything. That's why I was just more confused. When stuff flies over all the time, you hear it. The FAA declined to comment on the video, but noted that there had been no reports of debris. I tell you what, I'm going to post this video in the description of the program so you can take a look at it for yourself. But basically, it says it's a clear video, but that's really blurry.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's not exactly clear.
No.
But it's definitely an object on fire over the skies of Pembroke, Massachusetts. But we'll post the video so you can watch it for yourself as it's flying and a burning, Mallie. It's flying and a burning. Meanwhile, a fireball is falling from the sky over the U.S. and it triggered some panic and curiosity, but I think there's a pretty reasonable explanation for it. An unidentified object was seen by numerous witnesses across multiple U.S. states earlier this week. Social media was awash with reports of a flaming object careening down from the heavens that was visible across several southern U.S. states back on June 26th. In one case, a woman from South Carolina called the police to report a giant ball of fire near Spartanburg, while a firefighter in East Tennessee recalled a similar sighting in a post on X. He described it as being like a mini sun falling with a tail of fire. The phenomenon was quickly confirmed by the National Weather Service. It is not certain, but the satellite-based lightning detection shows a streak within a cloud-free sky over the North Carolina-Virginia border over Gasbury, Virginia, the service wrote. This streak was detected between 12:51 and 12:56 p.m. But what exactly was it? Looking at the videos, this is very low in the atmosphere, said meteorologist Brad Panovich. I'm curious if this was a piece of space debris, a rocket body, or degrading space junk. For something that to be that bright in the middle of the day, it was most likely burning up in the atmosphere. If it were a meteor, it would have had to be very large to be that bright in the middle of the day. There were no reports of any damage caused by anything falling from the sky, though some witnesses reported a loud booming sound that shook their windows. There is a news report attached to the story. So I'll tell you what, I'll post this as well so you can watch it and see for yourself. There's a picture here, Mal, on the news report on the still of this where you can see the fireball. I mean, it's relatively large. My guess is this isn't necessarily a piece of space junk, but I think you might have got a little piece of space rock here.
Okay. Yep. I would agree.
Yeah, because that's pretty darn bright. That's not your average piece of space junk or even a piece of satellite that's falling to Earth. That looks like it could be a piece of rock that's coming in. So, especially if it produces that loud of a boom, which wouldn't be unusual. And especially if it goes over several states,
right,
and maintains solid form, a piece of piece of our junk is going to burn up relatively quickly in the atmosphere. But if that held solid form for that long, it's got to be pretty solid. So,
And wouldn't that be a lot of money if they found it? If it
um,
was rock?
depends. It depends on the minerals that are in there. I mean, if if it had some pretty rare minerals in it, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just general space rock, general space rock sounds like one of the Flintstones characters.
Yeah.
Possibly it could, yeah. Depends on where it came from.
Mm.
Maybe it's a chunk of the moon. Someone's up there drilling into it.
Yeah.
If it were moon rock, it'd be worth something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just depends. Really just depends. I'm confused as to when World UFO Day is. This article doesn't specify. Do you know?
No.
No? You haven't been looking forward to World UFO Day this year?
No.
I
get my days mixed up now. I thought.
Right? You know what? I'm going to Google it real quick and see when World UFO Day is for 2025.
I thought the 4th of July was on Thursday.
Oh, it's July 2nd this year. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that would be, well, by gosh, it'd be today. Happy World UFO Day. World UFO Day celebrates 78 years of UFO culture and intrigue. Now that we know when it is.
Mm-hmm.
UFO, why wouldn't they know when they wrote the article? It's like the guy wrote the article and went, whenever.
He just didn't have his calendar handy.
I guess, yeah. He just cranked it out and didn't bother to look it up.
Yep.
Google. That's all, you just Google, right? Don't ask ChatGPT, though. I saw the weirdest article this week, but I didn't choose to pull it, about how people are going through, I want to quote the article properly, but it sounds insane. That's why I didn't pull it. But people are going through bouts of mental illness due to being on ChatGPT too much.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
It's crazy. UFOs have become quite the global phenomenon over the last few decades, and interest is showing no signs of slowing down. The precise date of World UFO Day hovers between June 24th and July 2nd. And as Google has pointed out, it's July 2nd this year. So there you go. With the former being the anniversary of Kenneth Arnold's flying saucer sighting, and the latter being the date of the Roswell incident. Of course, July 2nd is Roswell Day. Many, however, attribute Arnold's sighting being the true beginning of the modern UFO phenomena. Arnold had been flying his plane, a Cali Air A2, from Washington to Yakima, Washington on June 24th of 1947, when he decided to make a quick detour in an attempt to track down the wreckage of a missing military plane, which had crashed somewhere near Mount Rainier. Failing to locate it, he had resumed his flight eastward when he witnessed what appeared to be a formation of 9 highly reflective objects flying in the sky. The mysterious aircraft were stretched out across an area of around 5 miles in what he described as a diagonally step-down formation. He quickly realized that he was not looking at any conventional aircraft, assuming them to be some type of prototypes being tested by the military. Arnold estimated that they would be traveling at speeds of up to 1,700 miles per hour, far faster than any known aircraft at the time. Upon landing, he told some of his pilot friends about what they had seen or what he had seen, and by the next day, he was being interviewed by reporters. His description of the objects would lead to the coining of the term flying saucer. Exactly what it had been seen that day or what he had seen that day continues to remain a topic of intrigue and debate. As things stand, it is unlikely that we will ever know for sure what really happened that day. But as it is, World UFO Day is Roswell Day, which is today. So there you go. Our next story has to do with a new telescope in Chile, which unveils a stunning new photo of the cosmos. And here's the photo right here, Mallie. It actually looks
pretty.
like a great fresco you could hang on your wall.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're watching on video, you're seeing the great fresco. If you're listening on audio, you're going, yeah, it looks great, Tim. I can't see it. God damn. The next generation Vera C. Rubin Observatory is home to the world's most powerful digital camera, but don't ask it to take a selfie of you. A new eye has opened on the universe, and it could answer many of the astronomy's most enduring questions. Sitting high atop, I believe it is Cerro Pacon. I know my Spanish is horrible.
It's better than mine.
In the Chilean Andes, the observatory promises to transform our understanding of the universe by taking ultra-sharp images of the cosmos. Inside, its 3,200 megapixel camera will repeatedly capture images of the night sky every 40 seconds for 10 years straight. Wow. That's a lot of wasted digital space.
Mm-hmm.
Capturing a groundbreaking and unprecedented level of detail in the process. The image, which I just showed Mallie, shows I believe this is the Trifid and Lagoon Nebulae. And it's an example of what it can do. The discoveries made possible by this continuous high-resolution capture of the cosmos will be revolutionary. For instance, if there's a ninth planet hiding somewhere in the outer solar system, this new observatory will be able to find it in less than a year. And if it's a bunch of poppycock, they won't find it within a year.
Nope.
Nope. It will also be able to spot potentially deadly asteroids long before they get close to the Earth, which is good. We don't want to be hit by one of those. Of course, analyzing the images captured by the observatory will be a major challenge involving hundreds of scientists situated around the world. No doubt, AI will be instrumental in fully analyzing every bit of data, which means we're screwed. Well, it'll miss it completely.
In layman's terms.
Yes. It's transformative, said Professor Alice Decent of Durham University. Could be Alice too, but it's spelled A-L-I-S. I'm going for Alice.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the A-list, Mallie. It's going to be the largest data set we've ever had to look at our galaxy with. He went on to say, it will fuel what we do for many, many years. I'm glad they got that high power of a set to look at. I mean, yeah. I don't want to be hit by an asteroid. I don't know about you.
I'm good, thank you.
Do you ever stay up at night wondering about stuff like that?
Not about being hit by an asteroid, but death, yes.
Don't blame me. I've been kept awake a few nights wondering about that myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here's something you may, I don't think you stay up nights wondering about this, but something you might have wondered about is time, which eventually leads there.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Scientists are proposing that time may actually have 3 dimensions.
Okay.
Which leads to an interesting scientific theory. A new theory of reality puts forward the notion that time has 3 dimensions, making 6 dimensions in total. I'm going to try not to lose you here.
Oh, God. You've already lost me. Can I do the stupid criminals next time?
You want to do the stupid criminals next time?
Yeah, give me that one. Give me that show.
You want the stupid criminals?
Don't make me do math.
I promise this won't be hard. For decades, physicists have sought a unified theory of everything, a single framework that explains all the forces of nature. Even Albert Einstein, despite years of effort, was unable to find the answer. So see, even Einstein couldn't answer it.
Oh, great. I'm glad I could be in his category. That's going to be the only time I'm in his category.
There you go. But what if the problem is that we are fundamentally misunderstanding the nature of space and time? Now, according to Associate Research Professor Gunther Kletetska.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous last name.
That's a name you can't solve right there. Of the University of Alaska Fairbanks, it could be that time itself has 3 dimensions rather than 1. In addition, he argues, space may only be a secondary manifestation. Boy, the weed is good there at Alaska Fairbanks, let me tell you. These 3 time dimensions are the primary fabric of everything, like the canvas of a painting, he says. Woo-hoo, bong rips. Space still exists with its 3 dimensions, but it's more like the paint on the canvas rather than the canvas itself. Are you catching what I'm putting down?
A little bit.
Okay, so you got space, and then you
Mhm.
got the paint.
Right.
Yeah. See, it's not hard at all. The concept is the opposite of the long-established traditional view of the universe, which is typically thought to have three spatial dimensions, not special, but spatial, three spatial dimensions for space and one dimension of time. Platechka has also developed a mathematical framework through which it may be possible to eventually determine if the three-dimensional time exists. I don't know if I should bother with the mathematical thing. We already understand this, right?
Mm.
Earlier 3D time proposals were primarily mathematical constructs without these concrete experimental connections, he said. My work transforms the concept from an interesting mathematical possibility into a physical, testable theory with multiple independent verification channels. Whether or not he genuinely hit upon fundamental discovery about the nature of reality, however, remains to be seen. So see, no math there, Mallie. Just 3-on-3. Boom. It's like a basketball game, right?
Okay.
There you go. See, that wasn't hard, was it? Made it easy for you. But if you'd like, you know what? I do have a dumb crime, stupid criminal story for you today, though.
Okay, thank you.
How do you like that? I'll make it easy for you today.
Balance. Got to do some balance.
Doing some balance for you today. How do you like that, my friend? I'll do a little balance for you. Actually, this may be a dumb crime, stupid criminal story, as we got one story here before we go to break. We'll see where this one goes. An alien shows up on a doorbell camera in Compton, California.
Okay. Ooh, Compton?
Yeah, aliens in Compton. You tell me if it's a real alien or not. Something was lurking outside in the darkness after midnight. Sure, it was an alien.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody is quite sure who or what it was. The footage, which was captured outside the home of Jessica Ortiz in the early hours of morning back on June 6th, has left a lot of people scratching their heads. Right at the beginning of the clip, you can see a strange bluish gray figure with an anomalously, that's a hard word to say, shaped head walking quickly across at the bottom right of the frame. That a few seconds later, you can hear a series of sounds coming from somewhere nearby. The figure looks like a stereotypical alien, or as one person pointed out, Roger from American Dad. Jeez. I have cameras in the back that are motion censored, and they didn't pick up anything, Ortiz told the Hidden Underbelly. My aunt lives next door, and she said that at about 12:45 a.m., she heard 3 loud bangs on the roof of her house, which is wild to me, she said. She said she heard scratching sounds after the second bang and ran to her room and started praying because that's going to get the alien off your roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a clip here, and of course, I'm going to post it so you can watch it. What to do when aliens show up in Compton. That sounds like an Ice Cube song, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. If Ice Cube doesn't make a video about aliens in Compton in the next year, then I don't want to live in this world. That's for sure. All right, coming up next. If I were to tell you Elon Musk doesn't own a computer, would you throw money on that?
I wouldn't be surprised. He's a little quirky.
Quirky, but he's supposed to be this tech genius. His whole company, one of his companies, is a social media company. Mm-hmm. How does he do it without a computer? Right? Mm-hmm. Coming up in AI news. I find it hard to believe, but we'll go there. We have an obituary to read today. We've lost one of our forefathers in the paranormal. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about someone who got a face transplant who says it was a lot like being out of body. We'll talk about that today, Mallie. It's kind of unusual. There's been a bit of a Bigfoot sighting in South Idaho, and we'll tell you why Bigfoot sightings go up this time of year in South Idaho. Something interesting. I told you we had a dumb crime, stupid criminal story today. We'll tell you how one beekeeper kept the cops away from him.
Oh.
That's coming up today. I believe that's our palate cleanser today. So there you go. That's supernatural news and Parashare today. I'm also trying to remember if we have a Parashare today. I don't think we have one today, but I'll check. We might have one today. So that's it today for supernatural news. Not that we're ending it today, but
It kind of made it sound like we were.
No. But we've got
that's all, folks.
That's not that's not all, folks. But we also have a story about how scientists are trying to create artificial human DNA from scratch.
Ooh.
Yeah. The robo wars have begun, folks. So we've got much more on the way right here. Supernatural news and Parashare with your friends Tim and Mallie right here on the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. Welcome back to the best in paranormal podcasting. This is Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Tim Dennis. Along with me, Mallie Fox. Mallie, you know what time it is, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that time. I've just given up on trying to surprise you with any catch or anything like that.
I know it's automatically once we get back from our break.
Yeah, we just got to jump into it. We just got to rip the Band-Aid off. We just got to get to it. If I told you that Techno King Elon Musk doesn't own a computer, would you be shocked by that?
No, I wouldn't be shocked. No, he's quite the character.
See, I was, but he won't be the first to admit it. It was actually his lawyers that told the court that. It came out in a position. A courtroom twist in Musk's war with OpenAI has revealed a stunning, bizarre detail about the self-described Techno King. He fancies himself the innovator of our time. Disrupt could be his middle name. Technology, it seems, is in his DNA. And yet, Elon Musk apparently, supposedly, has a secret Luddite streak. He doesn't own a computer. I'm shocked. The revelation didn't come from a biography or a tell-all interview. It came from a legal filing in the high-stakes mudslinging lawsuit between Musk and OpenAI, where the future of artificial intelligence is on trial in a Northern California courtroom. Amid thorny questions of corporate betrayal and billion-dollar secrets, the strange details stole the show. Yes, you heard that correctly. It's not a joke from a late-night show. That's not us saying it. It's coming from Musk's own lawyers. In a legal letter filed on June 22nd, Musk's legal team pushed back against accusations from OpenAI that they were failing to turn over relevant documents. When OpenAI claimed Musk's team was refusing to collect certain materials, his lawyers called the accusation incorrect and in the process dropped the bombshell. Mr. Musk does not own a computer. His lawyers at Toberoff and Associates wrote on the first page of the 3-page document. There's just one problem with that claim. Public evidence, including from Musk himself, suggests otherwise. While employees at X told Wired Musk primarily works from his phone, they also note he's been using a laptop on occasion. More pointedly, Musk has referenced owning a computer in his own social media posts. In a December 2024 post on X, he shared an image with the text, "This is a pic of my laptop," explaining that he was using it to test Starlink's streaming capabilities in flight. More recently, in May of 2025, when asked about his gaming setup, Musk replied on X that he is still using my ancient PC laptop with the @Doge sticker made long ago by a fan. Well, then he obviously does own a PC, right? This contradiction emerges from the messy discovery phase of his lawsuit against OpenAI, where he accuses CEO Sam Altman of betraying their founding mission. As both sides fight over internal documents, the battle has intensified. This context takes the no computer claim, or makes the no computer claim seem less than a personal quirk and more like a potential legal tactic to limit the scope of discoverable documents. After all, if there's no computers, then there are no computer files to hand over. The Musk versus Altman case is a proxy war over the governance and ownership of AI. Musk, a co-founder of OpenAI, now portrays himself as the more prominent critic, arguing the company sold its soul to Microsoft. OpenAI, in turn, depicts Musk as a bitter ex-partner trying to interfere with a company he chose to leave. But for now, the legal drama is being overshadowed by a bizarre claim that it is seemingly contradicted by Musk's own public statements. The man suing over the future of artificial intelligence may be trying to persuade a judge that he has personally abandoned one of the most fundamental tools of the digital world. Doesn't own a computer, though.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe he was going to get away with like a technicality, like he uses a computer, but he doesn't own a computer.
Yeah, it's company property.
Right.
Yeah, you would think that would be that would be the excuse, and I think that's what his lawyers are probably going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not mine; it's company property. I don't
Mhm.
have a personal one,
Right.
but it's one and the same. He owns the
Mhm.
company,
Oh, true.
so there you go. Meanwhile, Mallie, sooner than later, you will be hit by an AI-driven car in traffic.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
I'm convinced, and this is why, Mal. An AI-driven car breaks the human world racing record, and experts say it could go faster than that.
Oh.
You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
An AIC AV24 race car engineered by IAC, I'll get that right, and piloted by AI driving software from Unimore Racing completed a lap of the 2.88 kilometer circuit in 58.3 seconds, beating the previous record. That's a fast car.
Mm-hmm.
In a historic first from an autonomous motorsport, an AI-driven race car has shattered the lap record previously set by human drivers. An IAC AV24 race car engineered by IAC and steered by AI driving software from Unimore Racing completed a lap in 58.3 seconds. This was just 1 second quicker than the previous record of 59.3 seconds, established by a human driver in a Lamborghini Huracan STO in 2022. So the record only stood for 3 years before AI broke it. That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
The record-breaking feat was accomplished during the Indy Autonomous Challenge, IAC, a global university contest promoting autonomous technologies through high-speed racing. Ayub Raji, the co-lead of Unimore Racing, reckons that the time could have been reduced by an additional 2 seconds. So AI could have beaten it by 3 seconds. That's scary. With fresh tires alone, we could have cut the time by another couple of seconds, Ayub stated. With a road course aero kit, we can go even faster. We were also eyeing the full layout track record of 1 minute and 8.5 seconds set by a lightweight FX3 series formula car. That was within reach too. We just ran out of time. Hopefully we'll be back. The AI driver was developed by Unimore Racing, a team of students and researchers from the University of Modena and Reggio Emilia in Italy. They are one of 10 university teams from around the globe competing in the Indy Autonomous Challenge. The team also clinched first place at the IAC's inaugural multi-car autonomous exhibition race held in January at Las Vegas Motor Speedway 2025. Telling you, someday you'll be driving, not you personally, but someday someone will be driving along in traffic. They're going to get killed by an autonomous vehicle driving way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to end up having to take them off the street.
Yeah.
And it'll be because the AI programming is all screwed up.
Right.
Yep. Just saying. All right. We do have a Parashare. Told you I didn't know if we had one. We do have one. And this Parashare that we have today, See, I had it pulled up and then it got away from me, Mel. I'll get it. I get it. Comes from, trying to see if I can say his name or not. Yes, I can say Jason in Ohio. I have to be careful because, some people want to be
Right.
anonymous. Some people, yeah. But this one comes from Jason in Ohio. He says, let me start by saying I really enjoy listening to Darkness Radio. You folks always put together a very entertaining show. I'm a very long-time listener and have finally worked up the nerve to send in my one and only ghost story. Well, thank you, Jason. Here we go. Here goes nothing, he says. Well, it's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost story. It occurred over 20 years ago. I believe it was in 2000, and I can still see his face as if I was looking at him today. I live in the upper Ohio Valley, specifically the tri-state area between Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. I'm a broadband engineer today, but back then I was a residential installation and service technician for the local cable company. That morning I reported to work and received my stack of orders for the day. We were still using paper then. I began my route, and sometime that morning I arrived at a residence for a new service installation. A young family had just purchased a new home. It was, and still to this day, a very nice house located along a beautiful street in a very well-kept community. One of the prettiest little towns you would ever see anywhere. There was nothing that made me think I was about to go into a haunted house. Ooh, not good.
Mm-hmm.
I knocked on the door and was greeted by a young woman, and she invited me in to get started. She showed me where they had the television set up, and I checked the signal on the wire. It wasn't as good as I needed it to be, and I asked if she could point me in the direction of the basement. She showed me to the door, but stayed upstairs because she also had a new baby to worry about. I went downstairs to the basement and found myself in a room finished with wood paneling and a few doors leading to different areas. This room wasn't very large, maybe just 4 steps would get you from one side to the other. I went through the door on my left and into an unfinished area where the furnace was located. The cable also came into the house in this area, and I found the connection that I was looking for. It needed replacing, and I had to go back to my van to get the parts. That's when my experience happened. When I got back to the wood-paneled room from the furnace room, I was startled to see a boy standing at the foot of the stairs looking at me as I came through the door. I stopped and just looked at him. I can remember exactly what he looked like to this day. He looked out of place. He was maybe 13 years old and straight out of the 1970s. He had straight blonde hair that was almost shoulder length. He had on shorts and tube socks with stripes at the top. I was reminded of the movie The Bad News Bears. That's what he looked like one of the boys from that movie. He wasn't transparent. He was fully solid. After maybe just a few seconds, he turned and walked up the stairs, but it seemed like longer. I watched him go up the stairs and walked over to go up the stairs myself. Remember, this room can be crossed in just a few steps. Once I got to the bottom of the stairs, I looked up to the door at the top, and he was gone. I went upstairs and out to my van to get the parts I needed, and I remember thinking there was something odd about that encounter. I went back to the basement and changed out the connection. Nothing happened when I came back to the wood-paneled room again, but that's when I realized that when the boy went upstairs, I didn't hear any footsteps. Oh, that's kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
The stairs were wood as well, and you couldn't go up them wearing socks without someone in the basement hearing you. The other thing that occurred to me was the door was at the top of the stairs, and it didn't open and close when he would have gone through it. The door was definitely closed when I went up after him. He was just gone. So he just went through this door, and it didn't open.
Mm-hmm.
I went back upstairs and finished the job. I didn't mention anything to the customer because I didn't want to scare her. Moving into a new house with a newborn was enough to worry about. I remember leaving the house and going into my van, sitting there for a few minutes, trying to process the experience I just had. After that, I left and went about the rest of my day. So that's the story about the time I saw a ghost, or did I? After thinking about this experience and listening to countless hours of podcasts and shows discussing the experiences of other people, I'm not so sure that what I saw was a ghost. I don't know how this is even possible, but did I experience a time slip? Was the boy I came face to face with a ghost, or was it actually a boy just in another time? Could it have been some kind of crossing of different times and I just happened to be in the exact right place? The same would have been true for the boy. If it was a time slip, then maybe somewhere out there, there's a man that has a similar story as mine. Maybe he thinks he saw the ghost of a big guy wearing work boots and a tool belt coming out of his basement door. He would probably be around 70 years old or so today, and I guess it's a real possibility that he may still live in the area. Imagine how weird it would be to actually meet that person today. He says, I've been a fan of spooky things for as long as I can remember, scary movies, paranormal stories, Halloween, etc. And I hope my story will add to the community in a small way. Thanks for keeping the show going, and I hope it lasts for many more years to come. Your friend and Darkness Radio fan, Jason in Ohio. Well, Jason, that's an interesting theory. And, the reason why I would lend credence to it is because you're working around low-line electrical equipment, and especially if you're working cable, as you know, there's a low-line signal there, and you're working around electrical and RF equipment, and maybe that's just enough to spark some sort of temporal portal. It could cause a time slip, right? Where it may not necessarily be a ghost, where it could be a time slip, and maybe that was a little shaver from the 70s who walked by you. But I still would call it paranormal either way.
Right.
Right? I don't know, Mel, what do you think?
I mean, that's an interesting concept, but I just keep thinking about how a lot of technicians and, people that come to work on your house, they all have experiences. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't tell you.
Yeah.
But when you hire people to come and work on your house, they usually, I want to know like how many experiences these people have. Because you
Right.
always hear a story about them having an experience, some technician or, electrician, a cable guy, carpenter. They tend to have some type of experience.
Yeah, and how often out of how many homes do you actually have an experience, if any at all?
Right.
Is it normal? Is it not normal? Is it Yeah, you're right. Is it rare?
Mm-hmm.
Extremely rare?
Mm-hmm.
Is it and the fact that he walked in there and Jason didn't expect to have an experience like that. This didn't look like a home that looked like he'd be expecting anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I find it unusual too.
Yeah. But I like his story though.
Yeah, very good story. Thank you, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. We also got a good review on Apple Podcasts this past week. So
Oh, fabulous.
that was fun. So yeah, so keep those good vibes coming, folks. We appreciate it. With that, we should mention to you that one of the main researchers in the paranormal has passed away this past week. Ray Stanford is gone. Ray died over last weekend, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. It didn't hit our wire because we recorded early last week. But he died over last weekend. He was born in 1938, had a nearly lifelong passion researching UFOs, but he also had an interest in many topics. One and some firmly in the realm of the paranormal, others embedded in the science of paleontology. Riley Black wrote in Smithsonian Magazine and noted that amateur iconologist Ray Stanford had a knack for finding dinosaur tracks and traces in the Baltimore, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. area. Among his recent finds are an impression of a baby ankylosaur, is what it is, on display at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, and a track made by an adult of a similar dinosaur on the grounds of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center. As our paleontology curator Matthew Carano says in the video above, Stanford's talent for tracking dinosaurs has helped fill out our understanding of East Coast dinosaurs in deposits where bones are scarce. Of course, there's many there's many links to Stanford's work as well in paleontology. And there are other stories about his paleontology work that provide credibility for his work in that field. In a feature in the Washington Post on April 19th of 2012, Brian Vesteg wrote about their experiences in searching for dinosaur evidence. The author of the story searched the story for a quote, but there were so many that they finally settled on one because the name of world-renowned paleontologist who had seen Ray's collection of dinosaur fossils, known as the Stanford Museum, Robert Baker said, "My jaw stayed dropped for an hour at Stanford's collection." So, yeah. So he was also known in that area as well. Ray wrote a variety of books on UFOs, including an early work about George Adamski and some of those in the contactee movement. Asked about it later, he said that he was much younger then. He wrote about Fatima Prophecy, What Your Aura Tells Me, and other books in a similar vein, and that his passion was UFOs. He was on the scene quickly when the story of Lonnie Zamora's landed egg-shaped craft had landed in Socorro, New Mexico broke. That culminated in Socorro Saucer in a Pentagon Pantry, which was the first book about that historic case. For many years later, he would jokingly say that he wrote the book on that case. And there was many other accolades to Ray Stanford, but he sadly is gone at the age of 87. So he'll be missed. So Godspeed to you, Ray Stanford. The one thing, hopefully, that doesn't happen to Ray Stanford happened to a bunch of other people. And we're kind of going backwards, but going forwards here. There was one thing I kept out of interstellar news because this is more of a burial story.
Okay.
A failed orbital mission lost a bunch of human remains, Mallie.
Ooh.
Yeah. You know, we've talked in the past about, wasn't it your dad that wanted to be launched into space when he died?
Yes. And I was going to go the cheap route and just attach him to one of the firecrackers that my brother likes to light off.
Happy 4th of July, right?
Yeah. Let his ashes rain back down on us.
Well, that might be the cheaper and more safer route. A spacecraft carrying the remains of more than 160 people crashed into the Pacific Ocean on June 24th. A bunch of people didn't make it.
Right.
Causing its contents to be lost at sea. Would your dad like to be lost at sea?
No. Even though he was in the Navy, though, when he was younger.
Yeah. The mission intended to return the remains to the families that provided them following a brief stint in space, but now they'll never be seen again. So they were supposed to go up into space, get the remains were supposed to get their moment in space and then be brought back to the families, but they'll never see them again. They're in the water.
Well, how much did they pay?
Well, that's the thing. On Monday, June 23rd, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. See, anytime SpaceX is attached now,
Right.
I cringe. Launched the Transporter 14 rideshare mission from California's Vandenberg Space Force Base, carrying 70 payloads to low Earth orbit. The largest was Nix, a 1.6 ton or 1.45 metric ton reentry capsule produced by the Exploration Company, a German aerospace startup dubbed Mission Possible. It was the company's first attempt to carry customer payloads, taking roughly 660 pounds or 300 kilograms of cargo on a trip around the Earth. This includes the ashes and DNA of more than 166 deceased people provided by Celitus, a memorial spaceflight company based in Houston, Texas. Though Nick successfully reached orbit, a parachute system failed during re-entry, according to Celitus. As a result of this unforeseen event, we believe that we will not be able to recover or return the flight capsules aboard, the company said in a statement. We share in the disappointment of our families, and we offer our sincerest gratitude for their trust. Yikes. Though the mission achieved several key milestones, including a successful launch, orbit, and controlled re-entry, Celitus acknowledged that its unsuccessful landing marks a significant personal loss for participating families. In the coming days, our team will reach out to each family individually to offer support and discuss possible next steps. Though we currently believe that we cannot return the flight capsules, we hope that families will find some peace in knowing their loved ones were part of a historic journey, launched into space, orbited Earth, and are now resting in the vastness of the Pacific, akin to a traditional and honored sea scattering. Not what I think the last wishes were, right?
Right.
This isn't the first time a Celestis mission hasn't gone as planned. In May 2023, a UP aerospace rocket carrying the cremated remains of a late NASA astronaut exploded just seconds after liftoff over the New Mexico desert. The rocket was also carrying more than a dozen student experiment payloads for NASA. In a statement posted to social media on Tuesday, the exploration company deemed Mission Possible a partial success.
Partial.
Explaining that the capsule managed to power its payloads nominally in orbit, stabilize itself after separating from Falcon 9, re-enter Earth's atmosphere, and reestablish communications after the brief blackout period. But it encountered an issue afterwards based on our current best knowledge, and we lost communication a few minutes before splashdown, the company stated. We are still investigating the root causes, and we'll share more information soon. We apologize to all our clients who entrusted us with their payloads. Looking for a price here, Mallie. I don't see where they list one as to how much people paid for this service.
Because, I mean, if you paid a lot and then they don't
deliver.
Yeah. I mean, but they probably signed something saying that you can't sue them afterwards if they don't deliver.
Yeah, you're right. They probably did. Because there's no guarantee that it'll be a successful mission. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't guarantee that the mission will be a success.
Yeah, because they're just saying, we'll give you our condolences. Okay.
Yeah.
You lost my parent, but
yeah, you lost my loved one. What are you gonna do? Right?
Yeah.
How are you gonna make this up to me?
Exactly.
Right. The company's Tuesday statement suggests that they say that mission is pending support from the European Space Agency, that they may do this again. The exploration company will, however, consider ground tests for some of these spacecraft subsystems to make sure that it doesn't happen again, that this doesn't happen again. The company's Tuesday statement suggests otherwise, leveraging the technical milestones achieved yesterday and the lessons we'll extract from our ongoing investigation. We will then prepare to refly as soon as possible. So nothing's going to stop them from doing this again. Yeah. But, I mean, isn't SpaceX like the Wile E. Coyote of flight systems? I mean, aren't they blowing up a rocket a month here?
Kind of seems like it.
So why would you? I don't know. I would just, that would be completely suspect to me. I continue to use them. That's my deal.
Maybe I'll just do the Viking burial for my dad. I'll just put him on a little ship in Lake Minnetonka and light an arrow and just shoot it out there.
Goodbye, Dad. SpaceX would have done the same thing.
Yeah, I'll go out to Big Island and zoom with the arrow. Here you go, Dad. Love ya.
Just pretend you're on a rocket.
Yeah.
You're flying.
Yeah. Hopefully South Minnetonka doesn't find me.
It's too funny. Well, we have a story here about a man who received a 47-year-old's face in a major transplant, reveals why he thought he was in the afterlife. I tell you, Mallie, face transplants still do not look natural.
No, there's one guy that's been, I keep seeing his face pop up on my social media, and that's him!
That's the guy?
That's him!
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This poor guy.
I know. Hey, but he's got a lady.
He does have a lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
Picture of him and his girlfriend. Yeah. Joe DeMeo was just 18 when he was in a horrific car crash, which left him in a coma for 3 months. A car crash victim has recalled how he thought he was in the afterlife after receiving a face transplant. He's now 26, and Joe DeMeo was in a horrendous car crash back in 2018, which left him with terrible burns covering 80% of his body. The car fanatic fell asleep at the wheel of his Dodge Challenger after finishing a night shift and crashed, leaving him in a coma for 3 months. 2 years after the accident, he received a face transplant and a double hand transplant, making history. DeMeo received the face of a 47-year-old donor in the first successful transplant of its kind. Speaking to People magazine, he shared how he went through horrendous pain in the early days of his treatment and remembers having bad dreams while he was in a coma and was convinced that he was in the afterlife. When they take you in the tank room, that sounds so barbaric, where they wash you off, take off all the bandages. That's not fun. You can feel the pain, he says. So you're dreaming about pain, he said, describing the many burn treatments as torture. Just 18 at the time of the crash, he said people often ask him if he experienced the afterlife with what happened. The only thing I experienced is me walking my dog. He passed away in 2012 or 2013, he recalled. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm assuming this is the afterlife, just me walking my dog down an endless hill. He's not the first person to have an afterlife or a life after death experience, with several people sharing their experiences of what they say comes after. One claimed to have experienced an overwhelming peace and happiness, a bright, airy, and floating feeling. I live a very stressful life. Imagine finding out the person you have had a crush on reveals they have the same feelings for you and you win the lotto after that or later that day. That was the feeling I had. It was the start of a very long recovery for Joe. Later in 2019, Joe met with NYU Langone's Dr. Eduardo D. Rodriguez. He was deemed to be a suitable candidate for the transplants, even though they were highly risky procedures, which had failed twice before. Can you imagine having a rejection from that? The first one passed away on the table. The second one, the hands failed.
Oh.
Yikes. But going into any surgery, you can die. So that didn't bother me at all, he insisted. It's not a perfect surgery, and I was making it a perfect surgery in the beginning. But then I realized, you know what? Let me be real, Joe says, after the surgery, which involved 140 people. Joe says he wishes the accident hadn't happened, but he had a happy ending when he met his partner, who was training to be a nurse. Jessica sent Joe a message on Instagram, and the couple eventually eloped in Hawaii in December of 2024. It sucks I got into an accident. I lost 80% of my skin and have someone else's face and hands on me, he said. But then I also found my life partner, and I wouldn't have had the accident. I'd probably still be a cocky 26-year-old, he said candidly. I would prefer not to be burned, but I like my life now because I have Jessica around. So there you go. A different life is what he has now, but in the end, it might be a better life. So in the end, it worked out. All right. Our next story has to do with the fact that scientists have begun an effort to create artificial human DNA from scratch. The controversial research aims to cure diseases, but also has the potential to create biological weapons. 25 years after the Human Genome Project first mapped out the molecules in human DNA, scientists are now beginning the mammoth tasks of creating artificial human DNA from scratch. The hope is that they will make it possible to develop new treatments for incurable diseases, but there's a catch. Such research could also make it possible to create biological weapons, and there's also a concern that it could lead to fundamental changes in the DNA of future human generations. We're looking at therapies that will improve people's lives as they age, that will lead to healthier aging and less disease as they get older, said Dr. Julian Sale of the MRC Laboratory of Molecular Biology in Cambridge, according to BBC News. We are looking to use this approach to generate disease-resistant cells we can use to repopulate damaged organs, for example, in the liver and in the heart, even the immune system. The first step of the research will be to find a way to create increasingly larger blocks of DNA until it is possible to create a full human chromosome. Building DNA from scratch allows us to test out how DNA really works and to test out new theories, because currently we can only really do that by tweaking DNA that already exists in living systems, said Professor Matthew Hurls, director of the Wellcome Sanger Institute. Making sure that this research isn't misused, however, is of paramount importance. The genie is out of the bottle, said genetic scientist Professor Bill Earnshaw. We could have a set of restrictions now, but if an organization who has access to appropriate machinery decided to start synthesizing anything, I don't think we could stop them. That in itself is scary.
Yes, it is.
Bigfoot analyst is detailing 2 recent South Idaho sightings. Bigfoot's alive and well in Idaho, evidently, Mallie. The Pacific Northwest, more so than any other part of the country, has the most Bigfoot sightings annually. Now a renowned researcher of the creature, who has more than 30 years of experience investigating claims, believes that a portion of the mountains in southwestern Idaho is currently home to the cryptid that people have been reportedly seeing since the late 1800s. It's the time of year now when people are going to be spending weekends in the mountains with their families, friends, and pets. The chances for Bigfoot encounters increase greatly between the months of June and September and peaks in October, according to information shared by Novi Pro. That's the name of the expert here. The states of Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana have accounted for more than 1,000 Bigfoot sightings in the past 30 years. That according to data published by the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, or BFRO. The founder of BFRO, Matthew Moneymaker, has been investigating the incidents and publishing his findings since 1995. The BFRO website recently published an incident report regarding multiple alleged Bigfoot sightings in the hills of Ada County, Idaho, as far back as 2023 and as recent as May 4th of 2025. An Idaho man reported both incidents to the BFRO, with the most recent alleged run-in involving nocturnal tree knocking. That sounds like a personal problem. And howls in the area of Dry Creek, northeast of Boise. Interesting stuff. So there you go. Bigfoot's alive and well in South Idaho, Mallie. Because of time restraints here, we're going to skip forward a little bit. And I teased that there's a story here that's going to have you clutching your pearls.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. There's a small breakthrough as scientists have created healthy mice with 2 fathers.
Okay.
And here he is. Here's the little guy right here. See?
Aw.
Nah. The research, which is carried out in China, shows that it is possible to create offspring from 2 male parents.
Oh, brother.
Boy, the emails I'll get.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, there was an article which asked the question, how long would it take for humans to become extinct if for whatever reason nobody could have children? I think we read that here on the show.
Yep.
The latest research from Shanghai Jiao Tong University, ask for it by name, apply for financial aid if you will, in China might hold the key to averting extinction entirely if such a scenario should come about. According to reports, scientists have been able to find a way to make it possible for mice to produce offspring from 2 parents of the same sex that can then themselves go on to have their own offspring. To trial this method, the researchers created an embryo with the DNA of 2 male mice, then altered the chemical tags on the DNA to mimic female patterns using a method known as epigenetic programming. The egg was then placed inside a female mouse and allowed to grow. There's your catch.
Yes.
Yeah. While not every attempt was successful, the research ultimately produced 2 healthy mice capable of reproducing.
Okay.
Crucially, the experiment shows that male and female DNA are not critical to an embryo's development. It confirms that genomic imprinting is the main barrier to uniparental reproduction in mammals, and it shows that it can be overcome, said Dr. Helen O'Neill of University College London. Whether this technique has the potential to work on humans, however, remains to be seen. But it can be done.
Oh, boy.
And finally, Mallie, our
Yes.
palate cleanser after that, because we'll probably need one as people type out their angry emails. Is this, and you get your dumb crime, stupid criminal story after all.
Yay!
Here it is. An irate beekeeper sets a swarm of bees off on police officers during a traffic stop. A beekeeper in Spain was so incensed when he was stopped by officers that he enacted his own unique form of revenge. The incident, which occurred in Spain's Catalonia region, reportedly began when the vehicle was pulled over for driving erratically and because the driver wasn't wearing a seatbelt. The man exhibited hostility towards the police as soon as they approached and shouted, "I should have run you over," before being asked to take a breathalyzer test.
Jeez.
He's a little angry.
Yeah.
A wee bit.
Yeah, chose violence that day.
He did choose violence that day in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm.
When the result revealed that he was over the limit, officers asked him to repeat the test for confirmation. Instead of complying with officers, however, he quickly went into the back of his van and unleashed thousands of bees from a hive that he had been transporting.
Oh, gosh.
And then violence ensued. The bees swarmed the officers and began to sting the two men relentlessly. This reminds me of that scene from Tommy Boy. You know, the one where they get pulled over and Chris Farley says, "Follow my lead." And he goes, "Oh, the bees!"
Oh, yep.
You know, yeah. And then the cops get back in the car and they pull over.
Yeah.
The bees swarmed the officers and then began to sting the two men relentlessly. When they fled to a nearby restaurant to take cover, the beekeeper sneakily drove away. The two cops, who ended up in the hospital due to sustaining multiple stings, were able to call for reinforcements, and the beekeeper was quickly tracked down and arrested. Strangely, according to unconfirmed reports, he was later acquitted of any wrongdoing.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Because I would think that would be assault on an officer.
But the beekeeper didn't assault them. The bees did.
Oh, geez. A technicality.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just go to the back of his van. He didn't do anything.
Wow.
Yeah. You could say he was checking for something. The bees just got away. Can't prove anything.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that, my friend, is your palate cleanser for today.
Huh.
Evil, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for today. On tomorrow's program, I'll rewind that. An old friend stops by. Psychic medium John Russell will be here. He has a brand new book out. It's called The Cansack Ghost. And we will be talking to John about his brand new book. So I don't know if you know this or not, Mallie, but John's next book after this, the foreword is written by a certain person you're talking to right now.
Very cool.
Wink. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But we'll be talking to John about this brand new book. It's a very good book, by the way. I'm reading it right now. So we'll talk to him about some of the stories in that book and some of the little lessons in that book. So yeah.
Very nice.
Coming up on tomorrow's show. Do you have anything for us before we leave today?
Nope. Just enjoying my summer.
There you go. And we don't have to launch Father Fox on a firecracker this 4th of July. He's good.
No, he's very healthy.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Plus, I just tease.
Okay. I just figured
he's going to be watching himself around me when he sees me.
That's right. Yeah. Just want to check.
There's going to be some type of clause now in his will for me.
There is. Yeah.
Do not let Mallie touch me, go near me.
That's right. He's writing that as we speak.
Yes.
All right. That'll do it for today, folks. Again, John Russell on the program tomorrow. And we will see you tomorrow for the best for Mallie Fox and Tim Dennis. We'll see you tomorrow for the best in paranormal programming. This is Darkness Radio.
For more audio and video archives of the show, intriguing content, and cool swag, check out darknessradioshow.com. The executive producer of Darkness Radio is Troy Palmer. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And make sure you join us tomorrow for the Cansack Ghost with John Russell.